yeah. Next up, I got this Ninja Turtles pin, which actually came from the same seller that sold the Voltron pin, which, yeah, I'm gonna link all these stores and stuff that I found this stuff at. The ones that still exist anyway, like at the bottom in the description. But, yeah, I had a lot of love for the Turtles back then, was really obsessed with them. I remember when the live action movie came out, you know, and I was just hyped for it. I remember, like, I was really, really obsessed with it, and I used to watch the show on TV and all that. Like, I remember playing some of the games, like there was a game on the Super NES, just so many positive memories, like, with the Turtles. Next up, we have more Japanese right there, and it's ganbarimasu. Keep trying, folks, keep trying, and don't give up, don't give up. Because we love Japanese pins indeed. So yeah, next up we have N7, which again, another series that I got into late was Mass Effect, and I actually had the opportunity to get my hands on the Mass Effect trilogy, which I was able to play through all the games and like really enjoy it like at my own pace and stuff like that. Although I'm just gonna say I do not acknowledge Mass Effect Andromeda. Do not even talk to me about Mass Effect Andromeda. I don't acknowledge it. I'm not gonna acknowledge it. But N7 back when Mass Effect was good, okay, folks? Okay. Only talk to me about that one. So next up we have a vegan pin right here, which this pin is actually, it's got a little pizza right there, which pizza was actually the first thing that I learned how to veganize. Like when I switched to plant-based eating and stuff like that, that was the first thing that I learned how to veganize. So that is very significant. Next up we have Yugi, which this pin is so old that I almost don't even remember how I got it. But I think I had gotten it because I got like a gift of the starter decks of one of them, and it might have came in there, and I have like the little lanyard that came with it, which I use that for all my convention badges and stuff like that. But yeah, this pin had to put that in there, and as you can see, it actually says Yami Yugi, which is about as dub as they come. Literally so much dub there, but again, it's Yugi, and probably a lot more recognizable than Jonochi here, which is all cheapified. But yeah, like I said, a lot of love for Yu-Gi-Oh! Can't take that away. Next up, I have the Wings of Freedom here from Attack on Titan, which, yeah, even though I'm not reading the manga or anything, I have been keeping up with the Attack on Titan anime. Gotta admit, when it came out, you know, I was pretty hyped for that. Like, I talked about it too. Like, I did talk about it. You guys remember that. So, yeah, that is this side. Now I move to the next side. So we're back again with the other side because I talked so much on that side that I just had to take a breather, get a drink of water, all that good stuff. So, yeah. First up, we're going to talk about this one, which is a Persona 4 keychain that I found on Etsy, which again, I'm going to be linking all these in the description below. Persona 4, I have to be honest and say, I finally had the opportunity to play that game a year ago, which I know I am so late to the party. So late. But, yeah, Persona 4 and I actually go back a little bit further because I had played the Persona 4 Arena game, which was kind of like my first introduction to that series, which I was able to familiarize myself with the characters at that point. And then I later on went on to get the full collection of the DVD, which, like I said, I talked about that, you know, one of my little Right Stuff acquisitions going on there, which, yeah, good game, good series, and I like Persona 4. Not even gonna lie. So next up we have Grell from Black Butler right here, which I actually have two of these. I have one of Grell, which is right there, and then I have the other one of CL, and it's right on my keys, which I was gonna put both of them on there, but I think the way the Grell one was designed actually allowed me to hang the Sergeant from the middle right there, which that was pretty cool. And of course the Sergeant. Gotta love Sergeant Frog. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I still have yet to actually finish that series because it's pretty long, and the series actually didn't do that well in the US, unfortunately, but it's pretty funny. Like, if you like to laugh, you'll like that series. If you like a bunch of otaku references and stuff like that, then you'll like that series too. And I remember the first time I discovered Sergeant Frog, and I was watching Densha Otoko, because I used to get that Japanese channel way back when, and I was watching that, had no idea what was going on, and I saw, you know, something with him on it, and at the time, it was like in the series, and the main character, he liked that series, like he liked the Sergeant, and that was how I found it, and I didn't even know it was a real series at that point, so then I ended up looking it up, and I found it, and, you know, cool stuff. But yeah, the Sergeant is pretty significant in that type of way. Always has been and kind of always will be. I mean, granted, the name Otaku Gunso, Gunso, okay, comes from that. So yeah. Then we have Persona 5, because we talked about Persona 4. Now we gotta talk about Persona 5. Okay, so Persona 5, I finally just beat that game recently. And again, I know I'm late to the party. I am so late to the party. I am 5,000 years too late right now. But I really, really did like and enjoy that game. Like, the anime was pretty good. Maybe I might get the anime. But the game was definitely very enjoyable, very awesome. You know, like, there's not even enough positive I could say about it. And yeah, just very amazing. Next up, we have Titus from Final Fantasy X, which, funny thing about Final Fantasy X, another series I got into late was obviously Final Fantasy, which I'll talk about that briefly, or I'll talk about that in a moment. But yeah, when I played Final Fantasy X, I remember it took me about 2 weeks to beat it. And the first week was getting up to the final boss, and then the second week was spent grinding. And I remember, like, I said to myself, okay, if I don't beat this game after all this, I'm gonna quit RPGs. And then I ended up beating it, and then I almost messed it up, but I ended up beating it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna stick with RPGs. I'm gonna stick with them regardless, but I'm gonna stick with them anyway. But yeah, Titus is definitely, he was my favorite in that game. Although they actually didn't have one of Waka. One of Waka would have been fun or whatever. But yeah, Titus is pretty cool. So next up we have Balthier from Final Fantasy XII, which, like I said, was my first Final Fantasy game that I played. And Final Fantasy XII was, it was quite a changeover from what I was used to playing, like the way the gameplay and all was like. Very awesome game though. I did like the story and all that. I like the characters and all. Like, obviously I like Balthier, like, you know, that goes without saying. But yeah, it was my first Final Fantasy game, so very, very significant in that respect of speaking. So yeah, that's all my stuff on my itabag that I talked about, and I hope some of this didn't bore you guys to death, but yeah, this is definitely gonna be a part 2 type thing, but yeah, I guess that's all. Until next time, folks, and remember, show me those itabags, okay? Till next time, folks. Later.